I had a dream last night that I had a massive bald patch there, and I hadn't noticed it, and it'd been there for years. And I was saying, "Fam, like my hair's going." She was like, "Well, yeah."
What
do you mean? Yeah.
Mine's getting thin on top. You can probably see it a little bit.
Right, yeah, just do a little Bobby Charlton thing.
Gonna have to go.
When do you think Bobby Charlton took the moment and went, "Do you think people have? people seem to be. People aren't looking at me. People aren't looking at me in the eyes when I'm talking to them." And for years, it's like, "Well, it's nothing. I don't know what it could be."
Like to be how old were you when he was having a comb over at like late 20s? That's peak.
When did he have his Bobby Charlton young comb over? What am I searching here?
It's tough one.
It is tough, isn't it? When did it start? I mean, 1966. It's there, isn't it?
The thing is when he played, right, he's got this comb over. He looks 55 years old when he's playing for Man United.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. We started, right? This is good stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't what I had in mind, but yeah, I just like to know. So, because hang on, right? Well,
can you share just so I can see what you're looking at? Because I'm looking at my own thing.
Okay. Because we can go through the years and just see when it occurred.
Because
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Bobby Charlton he's I've never seen a professional footballer look as old as him in his peak.
Yeah.
Like how old? When did he quit? He must have quit when he was about 50 years old.
Okay, well, so look, that's 61. So he's fine then. He's absolutely fine. 62.
Hang on.
When does it start to?
Right, 61. Right, do that one there. Go along up top row to the right. To the right. Stop. The coloured one on the left. Click on that.
This one?
No, the coloured one next to him. Left.
This
one
one?
with the red top. Yeah,
red top. Okay. 1963.
1963.
Yeah.
He could be 53 there.
Right, and that's with hair. That's with a full head of hair.
How old was he in 60? When was he born?
66. 66, it's gone. Look.
Yeah, it's gone.
66 World Cup final.
So how old is he there then? I'm just fascinated by what he...
I don't think he's that old. Because he plays till 1974, I'm pretty sure.
This is incredible stuff.
What year is this?
Why has no one ever spoken about this, Jim? Why has no one ever talked about Bobby Charlton's...
We're about to lift the lid. We're about to lift the comb over.
And this is what I'm talking about. This is what you don't get elsewhere. Like, fuck every other football podcast.
Yeah, I think it's important to say, I think he's suffering with dementia at the moment, and so we wish him all the best, and he seems like the most lovely man. He's got a lovely face, okay? But we just
I'm sure,
feel like at that moment in time, I think it's a fair critique that it wasn't necessary.
I'm just saying how
old did he
look when he was supposedly 25.
So that's 1966, right? That's 1966. So, and he's got the comb over there. You know, I don't know, was he? Someone's got to talk to him, hasn't he? Someone's got to say something. 85. How old was he then? He's 83 now. Someone do this for me. He's born in 1937. Okay, 47, 57. So he's 29. He's 29 there.
It's not even the hair. You can go bald. You can go bald.
He's 29, the poor bloke.
You can go bald in your 20s. A lot of people do. And it's not even the choice of the comb over. It's just how old he looks. His face is remarkable.
Bobby Charlton's last game was here. And I don't know what year it was. Stamford Bridge. There he is.
70s, mid-70s, I think.
Right. So that's... I can't make that bigger. So he looks very old there. Yeah. Really, really old there.
He looks... Oh, he come out the womb old, I think.
Yeah, bless him. That... 1970... If it is 1974. If 1974, he's what? He's 35. He's 35 there.
That's younger than you.
He's 35.
Younger than you, James. Looks like he's lived He looks like he's lived for 2 lifetimes. He's younger than you, James. In that picture.
He's a year younger than me there. That's incredible. Amazing.
Oh wow.
Good old Bobby. We love you, Bobby. You know, it's all
Great
good.
player.
But yeah, what a player.
Great
What he could strike football. I'll tell you that for free.
Oh, he could play.
Yeah. So the thing is,
what he wouldn't put up with these days. He wouldn't put up with these days.
Yeah.
These fucking soft continental forward midfielders. You know,
yeah, you're right.
He would. I think he could have said some problematic stuff. I don't know, but I don't think he'd have much time for the modern Premier League footballer.
I think the modern world wouldn't have time for hair all over the place like that, which leads me on beautifully to this week's sponsor, Manscaped. It's never too early. This is my favourite bit. You guys know this is my favourite bit. You know it is when I get to read out the Manscaped blurb. Here we go.
Yeah, it's great.
It's never too early to play holiday music. And it's never too early to start thinking about gifts. Whether it's for a friend or the friends in your pants. Or your friend who's got a comb over down there. Imagine someone's got a comb over down there, just hanging on to that last pube down the right.
This is what I was...
Swiping like that. licking their fingers and wiping it along. What? That's fine. That's still there. Doesn't need to happen anymore. Because you can make this a season to be jolly with Manscaped.
Yeah.
Do your little drummer boy a favour and use the Lawnmower 4.0 to avoid another silent night. Fantastic. That's brilliant. In the bedroom. Yeah. Then add in Manscaped's top of the line shower products to have the people thinking, all I want for Christmas is you. I'm honestly reading this. Santa cares about his sack, and so should you. And here's just a couple of those bits here. You got the crop preserver, ball deodorant, the crop reviver, which is a really fun time. So look nice when you get
crop reviver.
Crop reviver is it's a ball toner, refreshing ball toner. I've chucked that on the balls, and honestly, I went oh, and then yes, I said to myself,
half a bottle on your balls.
Looks nice when every time. Look nice when you get naughty by going to manscaped.com and using the code Allcott20 for free shipping and 20% bloody off. Go get yourself the Manscaped Platinum package. It's the one-stop shop for the man who deserves it all. And I think the important thing that I do want to say, if I may, just briefly, is I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. That's a 4000K LED light, so you can light the way like Rudolph.
So is this if you're in a dark room or you're just caught out in the wilderness?
Regardless, know you've got a way out. Is both in terms of you can see where you're going. Is what we're trying to say. Okay. Links in the description, guys. Get involved. Apparently, there's a perfect stocking stuffer. You can add in the brand new Body Buffer, which is an incredible body scrubber that makes exfoliating easy and a lot cleaner than the old loofah. As I said, get 20% off and free shipping with the code Allcott20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Allcott20. Get your jingle balls ready for the holidays.
Nice.
Fantastic.
What do you reckon Bobby Charlton's nether regions were like?
As I say, I think it was. I think it. What's the phrase they used? The thing matched the other thing. I think it's just a comb over. It's gone with a comb over downstairs.
No, I reckon he's got loads, and I reckon he'd sometimes look down it and go, "Why have I got so much down there? Why is there so much?"
just looks down, shakes his head. Why?
Why?
So incredibly dense. Just so many follicles. So many.
Like, why a wall? Why a wall?
Yeah. If you just can't get rid of it. I wonder if Mrs. Charlton was just sort of into it. Do you know what I mean? Like the comb over. Yeah. Maybe he went, I'm going up top. No, I am. I'm going to buzz it all off. Whoa. Do you know I'm into that a little bit? Are you?
They
Okay.
they are he got married to his wife Norma Ball in 1961. What a year that was for him!
In when?
Winning
What
the
year?
World Cup and marrying his beloved.
66. Lovely.
61. Oh fuck! Sorry,
There
61.
you
What am I
go. All right.
thinking? 61's when Spurs won the double.
All right. And then like
That
that,
was a great
5
year.
years later, you won the World Cup. Right. Let's dive into this week's podcast. Exciting times. Quote of quote of the week. Actually, oh no. Do you know what? I had such a good link for Manscaped here as well, which is a shame. You can't outlink, can you? It's difficult. Anyway, Luke Bromwich, quote of the week was, my preference, and this is something you said last week, my preference for this podcast, when people listen to this, is to have no trousers on and be half-mast. Football podcast. And then Ben wrote, given I usually listen to the pod during work, brackets I work in a kitchen, I think it might cause some tension if I decide to start listening with my trousers down and a semi, and may even cause some issues with productivity. Still, I'll make sure to do my bit for the slugs, only forwards. So, Ben, if you are listening to this right now, trousers down. Maybe put one of those, what we will allow is you can put one of those little hair nets on your balls. Which hopefully have been sculpted.
We didn't specify this last week. Are we saying trousers down or trousers off? Quite like just the trousers down.
yeah. Ben's just presumed like still connected to the
if anyone comes in, quickly pull them up. Just sorry, I was just listening to Jeff. And
well, you know when you're
I want to shout out.
Of course you can. Go on.
Shout out Tom and Finn, who I met at the Overlap last week. Pair of lovely gents.
Lovely sluggies.
They'll be watching. Tom already knows because he's a moist. I'm not sure Finn was a moisty, but he runs a Wolverhampton YouTube channel.
Okay.
He went, I'm a slug, and I was like, yeah, but are you moist or are you dry? And this is the problem. It's
good test that. It's a good test that. With a stern look as well. Yeah, with a stern look, but are you moist? Are you dry? And if they panic, but I don't.
Yeah. But we're the distraction of what this is all about. It's about building the slug community. And it doesn't matter whether they're moist or dry. They're both equally as important.
Now, I don't
think we should be dividing.
But now is the time to become moist, isn't it? Now is the time to become moist. Because, so first of all, as you guys know by now, Allcott's off to Qatar with Sky Sports News. 9:30 every game day morning. Join us. And also
8 hours. That flight is 8 hours.
Yeah, it's juicy. What am I going to watch?
Go. If they said, I'll go.
Watch.
I'll go to Qatar, and I was like, and they'll go, and I go, yeah, but how long is the flight? 8 hours. I'm not sure I can make it.
Really? Do you think everyone drinks a lot on the plane because they're like, it's sort of like last chance kind of thing?
Is it Qatar Airlines?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they'll serve alcohol then.
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
Anyway, sorry, go on. Yeah, why should they become slugs?
So, right, guys, please concentrate here. Now, we are doing a gargantuan World Cup sweepstakes on for the patrons. And if you sign up for less than a London pint, that's $4, I think, then you will be straight into the World Cup sweepstake. Now, what you need to do is you need to become a patron. And also, we're going to definitely keep the mailbags going whilst I'm in Qatar. I don't know what's going to be happening in terms of the podcast because I might not have time to do the running order and stuff. But we're definitely going to do the mailbag from my hotel room. Ooh. So if you want to sort of join us for that, but also if you want to be part of the World Cup sweepstake, the way it's going to be different is that instead of just getting one team and that's the end of it, you get 4 teams picked at random, and it's whoever's got the most points at the end of the World Cup. And he's going to be tiering it so that you get a good team, an average team, whatever, right? So it's going to be really good fun. You'll get content and you get thrown into that. What you got to do is once you become a patron, you need to go to the pinned comment on our Patreon page and enter your team name. You need to do that within the next week because the draw will be happening next week. We have 151. Thank you, Jamie, I'm guessing, in the chat. We have 151 entries so far, and the more entries means more prize money, and the prize money is going to be juicy. We worked it out. So become a patron, get involved, become moist.
Who's paying for the prize money, Jim?
Well, we sort of are via them becoming Yeah, it's on us. Annoyingly, Flav.
It's
Like
on us.
I remember when
No,
we realised we were going to do it. Flav's eyes went like this.
I was working it out. And he's like, because I suppose originally when you said it was like £4 a line, so you get to pick how many teams do we get? 4 each.
Yeah,
5 each.
Yeah, 4 each. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so every time someone wins, what is it? How does it work? You get 3 points or something.
I think we'll figure out the money. But if you come to Patreon, you do it. But it's like we figured out the money. It was a lot. The prize money was decent.
The game. What is the game?
The game is you get 4 teams, and you get points for a win, points for a loss.
Yes.
So yeah.
So it's much better than your typical sweepstake, which is if your team goes out or you don't draw a good team, you know that
it's rubbish.
Our money for you is going down the drain.
Almost a league.
When originally it was like £4 a line, and we were like, hold on a minute, that's sort of £2,000.
Steady. Right. So get involved, become a Patreon. You might enjoy the mailbags as well. We are able to talk a little bit more candidly on there. So yeah, obviously get involved.
Plus, there's how many others? 90. You can go back. They're all evergreen, pretty much. So you can go back and listen.
That's true. Yeah, 91 by now. That's true.
91.
Okay. Jim Big Laugh Award. A couple of Samisms off the bat. I had one as well. I was watching. So here's one from me. I was watching Final Score at the weekend, and they went to a reporter. And the reporter went, "Oh, they've been going at it. They've been throwing everything at the kitchen sink." and I was like, so I just had the image of a kitchen sink, and just people throwing stuff at it. Of course, the phrase is actually thrown the kitchen sink at it.
Can you masturbate in Qatar? Is that allowed? Have you listened to that?
I think that's on gov.uk. I've searched gov.uk, can I masturbate? And nothing comes up. Can't believe it. Travel advice. Masturbation right down the bottom. I don't know. I don't think you can do that in any public place, can you?
No, I'm not saying public place, just in your hotel room. Because you're going to be in there for a good 3 weeks.
Do you think it's like you're some? Do you think someone's got enough of a conscience to go in their hotel room, just twiddling their thumbs? I can't, can I? I can't. I want to, but I can't.
Against the bloody rules.
Yeah. I don't know. Cross that bridge when it comes to.
Let me know how you get on with that, though.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Decided to give it a go. Just going to try this as quick as I can. All right, but you popped it in my mind. You did ask me to tell you, so here we. So yeah, I'm going to give it a crack. Is Tom S14 Samism? I was playing golf with my friends and following a lovely sounding drive. My on-watching friend was clearly impressed. He said, "Clean as a nut." Good link actually from the masturbation chat. Clean as a nut. She said, "Mixture of clean as a whistle, sweet as a nut." And
lovely.
Jacob Smith, Samism. A few weeks ago, watching Leeds versus Crystal Palace in the pub, my less football-inclined friend watched both his bets on the game fall through. Missing that kick, he decides to open up blackjack on Betfair Casino instead. The natural addiction, and when the fun stop, jokes ensued, to which he responded, "What? It's guaranteed money," which I'm not sure it is. He then proceeded to play 5 hands at the same time, and to my disbelief, he won every single one, which is not the normal case. So just be aware of that, okay, guys, before you do. I look at him baffled, to which he simply proclaims with a smile on his face, "See, I told you. It's like printing money from a baby." I love the visuals of sounds. Printing money from a baby. So I don't know how do you see that? I guess you don't see things, do you? That's your problem. Can you see that? When I say to you, printing money from a baby, do you see that?
This is my condition where I can't actually visualize images in my brain.
Although people called it. I don't know why people. They're not sure.
I don't know. Understand why everyone's so, especially Ollie, seems vehemently against this idea that I can't do this. When you just have to Google it, and there's thousands and thousands of people that can't. No, I can't. I can't see anything, but I can imagine without seeing an image. Sort of probably notes coming out of a baby's mouth, something like that.
Yeah, where is it coming? I've got a little stomach here, a little baby just sat there going,
"Slot,
foot, just printing money." Samisms, they continue to astound us. I don't know. football. We've got a bit of football chat, but I've got to be honest. The depth of this running order, it's just a bit of sandwich chat. So we have got space. So I did go on Twitter and ask if people wanted to say anything, and also in the chat,
the patrons are watching this live. Yeah, let us know what you want to talk about.
If there is anything football based, then let us know.
Well, we are recording the day after the League Cup games, and Arsenal got beat by Brighton, Spurs got beat by Forest, Chelsea got beat by Man City. And do you know what, Jim? In terms of Tottenham and Conte, I just don't know what to say.
Tottenham cracks. Feeling
I've got no analysis. It's cracked, isn't it? It's not that I want Conte to go. I really don't. I just don't know what to say about it. It's bad. It's not good, and I'm just waiting for it to get better. As a person who makes content about football and about Conte and about Tottenham.
You're right. You're just a bit lost at the moment.
I just don't know what to. I don't know. What do you say? I can't go into this going, well, they're shit. All of them are shit, because that doesn't help. No one wants to listen to that.
Yeah.
I can't say. All I can say is let's just wait and see. It'll get better, won't it? Surely it'll get better.
You certainly can't. Well, yeah, you certainly can't be bullish, can you? Funny, isn't it?
You just look like an idiot if you're bullish.
It's not.
It irritates people. As much as being dour and sad all the time is irritating to listen to, being bullish when it's evidence that things are really not going well at the moment. So what do you do? Or I think what the position I have to be in is we've been worse than this before and we got better. And football is cyclical. So you just have to ride out this bad period.
Yeah, you are third. I think that's it. That's what you keep going. You got to go back to that. Are you fourth now? Oh, of course you are.
I know we have been doing that. That's what I have been doing.
Right.
And now we go to Forest with a strong team, Jim. And
really? Really?
Yeah. We need to buy players.
It's funny, isn't it? Because people don't care about the League Cup and then you go out and you go, well, that is a trophy, though.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, like, we could talk about this, James, because you're going to have to report. Like, the League Cup is pointless. There is absolutely 0 point because even the teams have a better opportunity, even the lower teams down the leagues, play weakened sides in the League Cup because they see any value in it. QPR playing the League Cup will play a weakened side.
You literally just said you played a strong team. You literally just said that.
I said that Spurs do, Man City do, but I'm talking from a fan's perspective. If we win the League Cup, it means nothing. Do people stop digging Spurs out for winning a trophy? If the trophy we do win is a League Cup, they'll go, "Oh, brilliant, good one."
You've got to come back there, haven't you?
No, you haven't, because the League
Cup. What do
you
mean you haven't though? It's that bad now? Is it? It's that bad?
QPR, if they had a big game at the weekend, would play a weakened side in the League Cup because the league is infinitely more important to the QPR and everybody else. So if that is the case, if no one really gives a shit about it apart from Manchester City, then
I think people sort of roll the dice with the first few rounds of the League Cup. That's what even QPR will do. That they'll play. Like, I think we played Charlton and lost, and you played the squad players, and you see if you get to round 3, round 4, and then you give it a go. That is the way that it works, if I'm honest.
Yeah, so let's just get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm at the stage where. Do you know what though? It's just football's so hard to enjoy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't you think? I was saying to Flav, I started watching the FIFA fucking documentary. And I don't really want to get into it, but I'm like, I turned to Fam. I said, football's really hard to enjoy. And then the Liverpool takeover is part of this as well. Like, I see the Liverpool takeover, and I see the giddiness of some Liverpool fans.
No, there's lots that don't want this.
No, and I appreciate that, but I always think of the phrase that you say. Life makes hypocrites of us all. Life makes hypocrites.
I think any Liverpool fan from Liverpool would be against a Saudi or a nation state takeover,
because that is the only question when it comes to this takeover, isn't it really? But the problem is there's a sort of clubs are snookered now, where it costs 4.3 billion to buy this historical, moral football club, and there's so few options.
There's no one with a socialist outlook will be able to buy Liverpool, because no one with a socialist outlook has £4.5 billion.
Yeah.
Also, that's an inflated. Yeah.
And the history, and we talk about the history and the majesty and the magical elements of these clubs. What really kills me is it's not enough. Say in the sort of when you talk about any teams can be too big to sort of plummet and plummet and plummet, they will always kind of resurface back up to the top. That has always existed for Man United, Liverpool, big clubs, whatever, right? But now you're seeing that even teams who are at the top, for them to, if you look at it the other way around, for them to stay at the top, the one thing they need above anything else is money. And it's so even Liverpool, when they get sold, will have to be sold to someone with at least 4.3 billion to spend, and with the idea. But let's use 4.3 because I think I saw that in a report.
Yeah.
The one
was comparable to Chelsea.
And so Bauer says, I don't understand why FSG want out. Seems wild to get out now. No, it's the perfect time to get out right now, because when you've
best time to get out.
When you've bought them, I want to say for 317 million, and I think there was a lot of debt involved in this as well. When you then sell a club for 4.3 billion, that is profit. That is serious
other
profit.
reasons. There's also other reasons as well, right? Because Chelsea's been valued at 4.5 billion because that's what Todd Boehly and his associates were willing to pay. There was more than one bidder, so it's not that that's a completely inflated price, but it is an inflated price. And the worry from FSG, I'd imagine, and other owners would be that if that's the price for a club the size of Liverpool or Chelsea, and then you add Liverpool to that, which has a much bigger global audience than Chelsea does, that price might come down. And if it comes down, their profits are that they've got an obligation to their shareholders, and they are a hedge company, to satisfy their shareholders. They have an obligation to do that. The other thing is that there is two other teams. If I remember reading this properly, I heard this on the radio. Actually, two other teams. There's going to be two teams going to the NBA. They're stretching the league by another two. Right. And FSG want to own one of those sides, and obviously that's going to cost a huge amount of money.
And that's another reason why they want out.
And the opportunity is now. Well, they might not want out. They just want to probably sell a huge part of their share.
But
the best thing for Liverpool is that someone comes in as a minority shareholder and slowly builds towards a takeover, and then it's like a slow process where someone can start understanding the fabric of the club. Trouble you've got with a nation state coming in and doing it is that they won't do that. They'll come in and they'll want to change things. But it will become to a state where if you want to stay in the Premier League, you're going to have to be backed by a billionaire. And where's the fun in that?
Well, this is it. So Bazar says you don't buy Liverpool now to make money. And that because that's the numbers have got so outrageous. And that's the thing. The ceiling is so... There's still no ceiling. And truly, there's still no true ceiling. And when that's the case, it's the same model in terms of, it has to not be about money anymore. It needs to be about a plaything or another route towards, another thing that is worth your while. And that's what I mean. Like it's not just Chelsea out on their own, but there's the rest of us. It's not just Chelsea and Man City. It's not just Chelsea, Man City and PSG. It's not just Chelsea, Man City, PSG and Newcastle. It's now very likely. And again, for FSG, they are businessmen. For them to not take the highest offer available is poor business acumen. Obviously,
they have to.
Yeah, so it's another one. It's another one, and again, the focus will always be. That's what I was like. It's so sad, isn't it? When you then go, people are just going, but we can get Mbappe now, and we can get these guys, and I get the excitement around those things, but it's another step towards a Super League, isn't it? I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. It's a sign of the times, but it's just ugly, isn't it? There's so much ugliness in football now.
Anybody coming into like Bilal says, their motives won't be about making money. It'll be about proving perception of, or whatever political agenda that they might have, like Saudis buying into sport, getting boxing over, getting GP over, getting buying football teams, is to improve the world perception of their country in part.
If it is that, I guess the other one is they have there's like American investment venture capitalists or whatever it is, an investment fund there, consortium, sorry, that was the word I was searching for. That would make it a little bit different, but again, there's an ideology there. When I see Todd Bowley talk about we need a team in, I can't remember where he said it, but like we need to be like Red Bull, where we have a team in Australia and America and Austria and Germany, like that's becoming the norm as well. And yeah, I'm like Liverpool, because I thought Paul spoke on the overlap very well. Because this is the thing that in terms of life making hypocrites of us all. Very difficult position for Paul, because this is his business, and for him to sort of, I thought he made a great point about there'll be a lot of Liverpool fans deleting a lot of tweets, where it's like it makes it very hard for him.
All fan bases went after Newcastle when it happened. Well, everybody
and Man City and Chelsea and all of them, and that's why I kind of keep coming back to, because it's not Paul's fault, it's not Newcastle United fans' fault, it's not Man City fans' fault, right? It's not Chelsea fans' fault. It has to come back to the ceilings need to be put in place, because you need to fence people in a little bit, because if you don't do that, it's just getting further and further and further away. Like it is outrageous. And this Premier League that we think so great, it's the reason it's so great is because the teams like Nottingham Forest have so much money that they can, so much more money than teams in Serie A or those other leagues, that there's enough footballers in a sport with so many variables that's low scoring that you can still have a congested league where teams can beat anyone to a point. But when Liverpool then jump in that same pool as the other guys, it's just getting more and more just distance. The gap is just frightening, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
And you can't expect Liverpool fans to walk away. I heard one person say this.
They won't walk away. Go on.
This guy said, and I thought it was a really stupid thing to say, to be honest. But he said, I don't want to hear unless you're willing to walk away, I don't want to hear any critique on this. And I was like, how can you make something that black and white? Like what we just
what was the context? He was saying he doesn't want to hear anything from Liverpool fans unless they're willing to stop going. Or stop watching.
Yeah. Unless you're willing to walk away, because that's not the end. That's the end of the conversation, isn't it? When you walk away.
What was his position that it's a good thing?
He's just saying, that there's money in football, and that's it.
So he's saying he essentially doesn't care, and he probably welcomes it.
I think he was saying things, to be fair. We've kind of similar point to me in terms of we've all got Apple phones. We've all we all do things that that we have to do for our career or for whatever it might be. And but to make it as easy as walking away. Now, if it was QPR, it's really difficult. It's so difficult, and I don't blame anyone for taking any road, if I'm honest. And I think a few years ago I would have looked at it differently. Yeah, I think I would. You can have the decision before the fact, and I remember saying this on the kickoff, and you were like, "You take the money of Man City," and I was like, "No, do you know what? I'd rather be where I am." But if it happened, because you have no control over it, in terms of what you're supposed to do as a fan, you probably just have to get on with it.
Yeah, you do. Of course, you just have to get on with it. And the thing is that, look, for most people, and it's interesting, this conversation, because it's about Liverpool, and Liverpool have been the most sort of, they're fundamentally a socialist city. They have ethics and morals, and their clubs, they live they support their clubs by, and that's why this is more interesting than Newcastle's, because Newcastle fans were just desperate for change. And so what I would say is that it's easy to say you just walk away then if you don't like it. But what you're doing, like your case in point here, Jim, is you're asking that person, if you was a Liverpool fan and your dad was a Liverpool fan, was asking you to not spend that time together with your father because you're unhappy with that, and that's way too. Most people want football as an escape. They don't care about the politics. They've got enough going on in their own lives to worry about, genuine things that they can change. Worry about something that can absolutely not change. So why should Man City look? Whenever I dig out Man City fans for having money, it's not because I actually give a shit. It's because that's just something to get them with because they've got everything else. So don't give them the respect. That's where I'm coming from in that respect. I'm not really taking the moral high ground about that and really care about the fact that they shouldn't celebrate because it's they have all the money and all the opportunity. It's only really the only thing you can dig Man City fans out as a fan, the partisan aspect, is because they've done it all with money. But it's not about where the money comes from fundamentally.
Does it make you? Because I'm just thinking here. Does it make you think that have a Super League, but don't play in our domestic league, and let us get back to something that feels authentic?
I would love that, but I don't think.
How would you feel? Because you're on the cusp of it, really. Like, would you want to go to the Super League?
On the cusp of it, we would have been in it. I would have been heartbroken if it meant that we were removed from the league, and for good reason should be. But I'm not sure the Premier League would have had the balls to do it because they appreciate that those big clubs, those eyes will go with those teams.
Yeah.
I would have been devastated if that's what the competition we were competing in was that Super League.
I'd also like to know, from the chat here, and I know we only got a few guys, but so it's not a big poll, but also in the comments, if that was to happen, if the Super League happened now, do you really think, Liverpool fans or Man United fans or, AC Milan fans, whoever, right? Do you think you would have it in you to walk away?
I mean, for me, that would be changing my entire life and how I earn my money and how my income and my lifestyle. So no, I'm not affecting I'm not going to allow something like that to impact my family and my kids.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that honesty, because I think that is the truth to some of these things for some of these people, right?
My kids don't even watch football. They don't watch Spurs. They're not interested in football, right? So, why should their lives be impacted? Because, I don't care enough about the game and its integrity anymore to drastically impact my family like that.
Yeah,
they're what's important to me, not the integrity of football, because that went down the pan a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly honest. It's just that's it. I think we're all feeling morally hamstrung, aren't we?
Yeah, but the way to break through is just don't. No one's getting hurt by this, really, are they? They're certainly not domestically. It's just a shame. It's just a shame. But that's a general rule anyway. Is that while there's terrible things going on in the world, realistically, what you can change is you can impact the lives around you and the bubble around you and the 20 people that you know around you, and you do your best to make them as happy as possible. There are some people that are in enviable positions, or some say unenviable position, where they have much more responsibility. But luckily, that isn't.
It's funny though, doesn't it? It just the sort of needle gently moves, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Is there any way of having a happy ending here for Liverpool in terms of that next move?
Well, they get Mbappe. They'll be happy about that, won't they?
Yeah. Just lose their identity, but they get Mbappe.
Well, you got to remember though, right? It is that as much what the Liverpool you see on television and the people that go inside the grounds and the people that are local that live in the city, that's unfortunately are a minority to the amount of Liverpool fans around the world, and the value that's created from that global audience is far outweighs gate receipts. So clubs are going to be looking across the club. My own club at Spurs, we're not members, right? We're clients. We have client reference numbers. That's on our membership cards. So that's a client to the club, the people that own Tottenham. That can be anybody in the world. It's not the people that surround it. And the same for Liverpool. Just not. And so people buying into it, while they may play lip service to the idea of what Liverpool is, their main goal, or whatever their incentive is, to spend that much money. Like in Abramovich, it was to create a public profile so he was protected against outside forces, right? There's and it worked for a long time.
Ah, dear. Thank God I enjoy the game itself. Thank God.
Yeah, what? That's QPR.
Oh, don't fucking skip starting that. I mean,
they're not that interesting. It's not that interesting.
Can I
anymore.
show you? Yeah, it's become incredibly dull at Queen's Park Radio.
It's so boring.
I show you something. Let me show you something.
Yeah.
This is actually, we haven't touched on this huge news, and it is huge news. Nathan Jones, Luton manager. It's a little bit dangerous, but I see what they're trying to do. What I will say is, when he moved to a team that played in red and white stripes last time, it didn't work.
It's Southampton.
He's gone to Southampton from Luton Town. He is quite an animated fellow on the touchline. Let me put it that way. He's got lots of energy, though, and maybe that's what these youngsters need. So good luck to him.
Do Luton Town fans appreciate what he's done twice, or is it just that they knew they couldn't keep him? Because they kind of gave him a route back after he bombed at Stoke, and he done well again at
they
Luton.
did, and he did brilliant, and he did brilliantly at Luton. Like, they got in the playoffs last year, and they should not really.
At least finish the season.
Massive game, Burnley-Blackburn this weekend. Allcott's done a preview on it. It's that big of a game because I thought, why bloody not? But yeah, let me show you this. So what I will say is. What I will say, actually, is a couple of things. First of all, everyone says I'm a jinx. I get it. I hear what you're saying. But I've also been saying Arsenal have been good for ages, and they don't seem to stop winning. So it can't. It's not me. It's not me.
You know how unfair that is on me? It's the only club that you haven't jinxed is Arsenal.
I know.
Everybody else.
But I did. I was asked to do a video for League of 72 on QPR, and we have not won since. Good draw against Norwich. I will say that. And we have played a couple of teams that were down there, but it doesn't matter. But let me show you this. I went on. This is when you start to think, oh, sugar, what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
Because this is the game against Huddersfield that I went to in midweek, right? Just have a look at the stats there. 71%, right? 36 shots. We had 71% possession, 36 shots.
And what's the score? 1-0.
We lost 2-1.
Yeah, that's unfair,
mate. It's one of those where it's like, look, we're still a bloody good team.
Yeah, you can see the progress. It's not a problem. It's going to come. The results will come. Sometimes you lose football matches.
Can I also say that this Tim Irigbunum, who was a bit shaky initially and still has sort of annoyingly nonchalant moments, is gently turning into an unbelievable player for us.
Really? Can't tell me about him.
Oh, he's like a sort of...
According to SofaScore, no outstanding strengths.
Yeah, fair. The fact that he's 19, the way he glides past players, it's like Yaya Toure, but playing a bit deeper. He will play for England.
Really? Wow. Do you own him, or is he on loan?
No, he's on loan. There's no way we're getting him. And I think Mick Beale said some comments about Villa when Gerrard got the sack. So I don't think we'll be getting him on another loan, which is a shame. But I tell you, there are some
comments. What do you mean?
He said like the club needs to look at itself. They said, but he's for a while. Everyone's been asking me what's he like, and he's been so-so, and he still has moments where he makes silly mistakes. But he's also. I've never seen a player just glide past people the way he does it. It's really special.
The thing is with Mickey Beale saying that about Gerrard because he's mate, right? But if you have the option over Unai Emery or Gerrard, you take Emery all day, right?
Yeah.
That was a coup for Villa. That was such a coup for Villa.
Undercover coup for sure. Definitely an undercover coup.
Great. And Wolves, like the standard of managers in the Premier League is unreal.
It's crazy.
Like clearly, obviously the go-to place in world football for any manager. You got Emery, you got Lopetegui. Is that right?
Lopetegui, yeah.
Lopetegui. And then you got all the others as well.
See, Nathan, that's the tough thing for Nathan Jones is he steps into that arena and he looks low rent. That's the tough thing for him and for Southampton. Because I heard Steve Crossman say this. I thought it was a really good point. Is that he will be a manager who's gone from I'm not sure if it's League 2 or League 1, but he's made his way through the leagues, right? And if you're a player, you'd be celebrated. But if you're a manager, you're like, is he capable? And so, well done, Nathan. You've done, to get that job, it's great. And to be in the Premier League is amazing for him. But it's an uphill task. And I wonder if you need. Do you think you need that sort of gravitas to even compete? Because I think the media will start. Everyone will turn their nose up at Southampton. They probably already do at this moment in time. Let's be honest.
I think you need. Yes, you do need you need charisma, and you need to be able to inspire your players. And I'm saying obvious things, but good managers in the wrong fit jobs don't always work. And it kind of what I've been saying about Graham Potter since he went to Chelsea is it doesn't feel right, and there's something in that. It's a kind of throwaway comment. It doesn't feel right, but you've watched enough football and seen enough of these kind of scenarios, and it doesn't feel like it's going to work because you can't imagine. And again, there's something in it because we watch so much football and we've seen it before, but there's also nothing in it either because how do I know? But you can't imagine Thiago Silva listening intently to Graham Potter because he's done so much more than Graham Potter.
Yeah. You know that people say sort of trust your gut. I don't know if I said this to you before. I found out that your gut has actual like sort of loads of nerve endings.
It's directly linked to your brain. When you're super stressed out, you feel it in your gut.
Yeah, it's an actual thing, isn't it?
That's a real thing. Yeah,
I found that out recently. Do you know what I also found out last night? Encore une fois. That's all.
Yeah,
that means once again in French. I never looked it up. It means once again.
Do you know what else I found out? Like a Prayer by Madonna. It's about blowjobs. It's about blowjobs.
Do you know actually? But so we're going to get into sandwich chat now. Which before I even get into sandwich chat, I just want to read this because I think this could proceed. Is that the word? Joe A says,
hang on a second. When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees. I want to take you there in the midnight hour. I can feel your power, just like a prayer. I'll take you there. Talking about sucking dick.
Yeah.
I close my eyes. Oh God, I think I'm falling out of the sky. I close my eyes. Heaven help me. Talk about sucking dick.
The video is very obviously really super religious as well.
Yeah, because you obviously can't actually make it about that. So let's give people what they want. But I know what I'm thinking about.
And importantly, am I right? I might be wrong in this. I think the person they have a black Jesus, and I think the black Jesus, is the bloke from Cool Runnings.
What? Be careful here, James.
I know, I always cut it out, can't we? Be careful. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is the guy. It's him.
Yeah, it is.
It's the guy from Cool Runnings.
It is.
There he is.
Can we just check that it is?
I'm sure it is.
Like a Prayer. Cool Runnings.
I see power. He actually doesn't say that line in that film. Great film. I once on a flight to Miami, I caught my dad crying at the end of that film. Cool Runnings.
What Cool Runnings? I mean, he's emotional.
I told my dad. He's like,
my dad. Yeah, it is him, by the way.
Yeah, and he's like, you're right, Dad. And then looked at the screen. It was the end of Cool Runnings. It was like when they were when they clap.
It's bobsleigh time. It's so good. Love that film. Great film.
John Candy. He's great as well.
Yeah,
right, so sandwich chat. Well, how do we get on? Oh, Oh, actually, that was one thing I do want to say. So Flav had this idea. We were talking about this on the mailbag. I just think it's a really good bit. And it was things. Are we going to make this a man thing?
Yeah, things that men do, right? Okay. Things that men do that we never talk about, but that women would never know.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're like a man with balls and a dick, you like, just really complicated because I don't want to offend anybody. But just typical men, right? The things that we do that we never talk about that a woman would never understand. One of which is if we're going into a toilet, this is like the most obvious one.
Yeah.
And you're looking at all the urinals. As a man, you've never been taught this, but you know exactly your place. Depending on the positions of every other man in that toilet, if you there are, you know where to go. And if you don't choose the right option, you looked at very, very strangely. Like, what's your game?
Yeah.
What's your game? And it depends completely. So if you have a row of urinals, and there is all right, Jim, I'll test you here, right? If you have a row, imagine a wall.
Use your hand. Use your fingers.
Right. Let's say, okay. So there's a row of, so there's 5 urinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've gone into the toilet, and there is a man standing at that one.
Right.
Which one? Where do you piss?
Where do I piss? So it's 5.
Yeah. 5. I mean, of course it.
Yeah. The other end.
You go thumb.
As far away as possible.
Right, exactly. Far away as possible. So you've got one man there, and you're there. Another bloke comes in. Where does he go?
Slap bang in the middle.
He goes right there, doesn't he, Jim? Now, in an ideal world, if your next man walks in,
well, this is a power move. Now, this is a power move. You got to go. You either wait.
Wait is the correct answer,
right? You either wait, or you go no. Well, no.
Wait, but sometimes you can't wait. So what do you have to do?
I mean, you'd go. I mean, you have to go. You have to go. You know, one of the other two.
Jim,
don't you?
It doesn't matter which one you do. You have to go to one of them, but you've got to go with confidence. You can't sheepishly go in there.
Yeah. You've got to go. Yeah, you've got to go with them tempo. Yeah, massively.
Yes. And what's more interesting is when you go into like a service station. Imagine fleet services, and there are urinals everywhere. And no matter how many people in there, the male brain knows where to go. It could be any combination of people. In almost 1,000 different variations of position where a man, if there's 30 urinals and there are 25 men in there, as a man, you know exactly which one to go, regardless of the situation. It's like
Ollie Sage says, do you as well? So so 2 things. First of all, so let's say you've got like, well, I was going to say, if you've got 4, right? And obviously, so the first, and you're coming in from, this is the other thing, is if you're coming in from this direction, right? If you come in from this one, it's not just here. You don't go here. You go far, you go towards the wall, don't you, as well? That's the other thing that you
turn,
do.
a slight turn.
Yeah. Now, I don't see 4 often, but if you were to see 4, and there was one, one person goes down the end, and then one person obviously goes the other one, there's 2 left in the middle, what would you do then?
It depends on the size of the man.
Yeah, you go next to the guy short guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100% go next to the guy short.
or it might be an age thing. You might go, because say the guy's like, he's 25.
And there's an old boy.
The other guy's an old boy. You go next to the old boy.
Yeah, of course you go next to the old boy.
It's just
See, So Jim, I never had that exact scenario, but I knew the answer. I knew the answer. So the other one was that, and we want you to let us know what men do in the
Catherine
comments
says
below,
males
right?
are so odd. I'd actually like to be enlightened by some of these the sort of female things that I could look out for later on.
But this is what's funny. This is what's funny about it, is because what's beautiful about this conversation is these are odd things that men do.
Yeah,
and it's like so another one would be, imagine a man, right, and imagine footprints. It's snowing, right, or you're on a beach.
First snow.
Right, and you're walking, you can see the footprints, and then after 4 or 5 footprints, there is a footprint wide right, and then back to the normal footprint pattern. So one step is a wide right step, and then back to the normal footprint. What are we doing there, Jim?
What has occurred there?
What's occurred? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, on a hot day.
A hot day, you might see several steps to the right.
Here's a scenario. It's a
when you go to Qatar, you might do a double jump, a double splits, and then go back.
It's a destination. It's a destination wedding, right? It's a destination wedding, and the groom and the bride have got to go do some pictures on the beach, and it's step, and then all of a sudden there's a right step, and then you come back in. What's occurred there?
What is going on
there? Eep Degree says letting them breathe. Bauer says sack release. Yes, sack release.
Correct.
You know, we can only pray that you've stayed on top of it with thanks to Manscaped. Links in the description.
More of what men do in the comments below, please.
Yes. Okay. Right, sandwich chat. Here we go. So Joe A says, rogue shout, but I think we're overthinking sandwiches here. Yes, and you're about to see why. So JP says, the sandwich ball sphere story, which you said it was nonsense. Do you remember this a couple of weeks ago? So
there
was a guy on his school trip
into
a ball. He said, you're not having it. He says that the sandwich ball sphere story is definitely true. I regularly form sandwich balls when I was younger. I'd remove the crust first, and it's entirely the middle bit of the sandwich. Sorry.
So it's like a Scotch egg, but in sandwich form. You get all the innards.
Yeah.
Why, though? Why is that better than just eating it in a normal form?
We have our ways, don't we? So
when you're a kid, you do weird things, but as a grown man making sandwich balls, that's not odd, is it?
Well, so
is that on?
Rebecca, who is one of the sort of key question masters in the mailbag.
She's sick in the head. She sends the most abhorrent questions that we have to. She creates images in my brain that no one else has done in my entire life.
Absolutely. And it was your birthday this week. Happy birthday! I don't know if Rebecca's in the chat.
Never. She made a cake for her birthday.
Looked very moist to me.
I've never been afraid of a cake before
until then. Yeah.
Until then.
It was it was different. So regarding sandwich chat, I think so. Much like JP, I think I may be able to shed some light on the balled up sandwich. I love this. I'm autistic and I have balled up 80% of all sandwiches. It's got the stats I've ever eaten. I take the filling. So I take the filling (brackets usually ham) out of the sandwich and eat that first. then there's just 2 slices of bread. Or a butter sandwich. More on that in a minute. There is something about feeling the texture of the bread change as you mould it into a ball. Feeling it get warmer in your hands until you get a smooth sphere, which is almost like a dough ball. Well, it is a dough ball because you've just eaten the ham, Rebecca. It's just so satisfying. If I'm eating it, this is the bit I love. If I'm eating a sandwich normally, I get thoughts similar to those you described about wanting to kick children. That are like, so that was an intrusive thought you were talking about the other week.
Yeah, I don't actually want to.
You don't actually want to, typically. Sorry, which is like, roll it into a ball. Why aren't we rolling it into a ball? So yeah, it's a bit strange, but it's definitely a thing.
I mean, I'm okay, but maybe it is a thing, but should it be? Should we allow this to pass? Like, people are free to do whatever they want, but rolling up bread seems like a fucking waste of time.
Would you, Rebecca? Would you wash your hands before rolling the ball? Or JP as well? Does it need to be smooth as well? What's a smooth sphere?
Either, is it?
It is a dough ball. You're literally creating. You're not. I don't think it's a sandwich anymore.
No, this is if the innards of the sandwich are in the middle of the dough ball, then I can kind of see it. I'll at least allow it. But in this instance, we're not talking about sandwiches anymore, I don't think.
I think you need to give that a different name, Rebecca. And now just move on with the rest of your life and go, I don't really like sandwiches. I eat a Beck ball. I like to eat Beck balls.
Yeah.
And also, I'd like to know do you make a sandwich, sit down, and then open the sandwich eat the ham, then make the dough ball. Why not just get some ham out, butter 2 bits of bread, and make a ball?
Yeah.
Let us know. We'll talk about that in the mailbag.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, it's going to get deeper here, guys. The replies on this are just phenomenal. Michael Everson. At what point does a sandwich become a sandwich?
Right.
I can't help but think that a Nutella sandwich doesn't count, but a jam sandwich does.
Yeah, that's interesting.
A butter sandwich, which we were speaking about in the last podcast, the fella was making Nutella sandwiches, ham sandwiches, and ran out of both, and so made butter sandwiches. He said,
because he really wanted sandwich.
Right, guys, lunch is ready. Comes in with 2 plates of sandwiches. I've got another one coming. Oh, really? What else is it? Butter. It's just about 6 butter sandwiches. There's only 3 of us. A butter sandwich definitely doesn't count. That's just 2 slices of bread. I have no logical or philosophical grounds for this at all. Just raw emotion. 119 likes.
Yeah. So let's break that down quickly. Is a jam sandwich is a sandwich. Nutella in between 2 bits of bread isn't a chocolate sandwich. There isn't such a thing. It hasn't been invented. People eat it, but it's not a sandwich.
Peanut butter's a sandwich, isn't it?
Peanut butter is a sandwich, 100%. So originally I was going to go with the idea that it has to be savoury to truly be a sandwich, but because throwing back to the chocolate flake things that the mental Dutch people do. But jam sandwiches is correct. I think you're looking at, if you're having like a tier list of sandwiches, anything sweet is at the very, very bottom.
At the very bottom of the sandwich?
Yeah, if you're doing a tier list in terms of God to trash.
Right, okay. Sorry, I thought literally,
trash
literally
is
in
like
the
anything like a
sandwich.
jam.
Okay. So the comments here are just interesting. Chris A, 14 replies. No logic, yet I agree with every word. So he agrees. Luis Conte, is this similar to the line of, at what point does bread become toast? Michael Everson replied, said, I think we need a new bit where James and Flav try to solve day-to-day philosophical conundrums like these. I'm all for that.
Yeah, good.
So day-to-day philosophical conundrums. Get them in the comments. We'll answer them. TC replied, a sandwich is 2 pieces of bread with 1 or more fillings. Nutella counts. I know you're trying to be funny, but this just doesn't have the legs for it. Harsh. Would you agree with that? 1 or more fillings. But is butter a filling, though?
No, butter is a prerequisite.
Does it need to be a lot of butter to become a butter sandwich? What are we fucking talking
about? No. Look, I'd add something else to this. Is in the States they don't use butter typically, and this might be a broad stroke here. But my understanding is that they don't use butter; they use mayonnaise instead of butter.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a mayo sandwich. Craig, my mate Craig, he used to have at uni used to have salad cream and tomato ketchup sandwiches. Is that a sandwich?
No, that's not a sandwich. That's not a sandwich. You need something of substance to bite into it for it to purely be a sandwich. So cheese or meat or something.
Yeah, that's super wet, isn't it? That's essentially you've putting. Well, it's like it's not mayonnaise, but like burger sauce sandwich, isn't it? It's okay. So he said that. Where are we? Phil Boggild. He's speaking about what TC said, which is about 1 or more fillings, and says Nutella counts. He says, I can't support this. I don't agree with the sandwiches you make, but I'll fight you to the death for your right to make them.
That's like a classic philosophical quote. Yeah. Whereas I can't remember who said it, but I may not agree with what you have to say. I'm butchering this, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
Do you know what I love? I love that is right. That's the 6th comment on a comment. That is the underbelly of the Jaffin community that I fucking love. That he's willing to write that. Hugh Griffin says, I've been saying this since day one. We need a clear definition of a sandwich. Sam, so Flav, you have a little think about that. What is the clear definition of a sandwich that we can move forwards with? Sam Bryan, the Germans enjoy an open top sandwich, one slice of bread, albeit a bread more similar to a baguette or a panini with a filling but no lid. Thoughts on that?
Oh, what is going on?
Hugh Griffin replies, that's just not a sandwich, is it? Sam Bryan says, I
No.
agree. I'm much more of a sandwich traditionalist, but I'd be remiss to not show an international perspective. Hugh Griffin's replied, I think it's important to show an openness and consideration to other cultures' bread/filling approaches, but I think we also have to stay true to the core values that made the sandwich great.
Yeah. But are Germans calling these things sandwiches, though?
So, well, thank you. Harry Grimes, this is not a reply. This is a new comment. He says, on Sandwich Chat, I recently moved to Germany and was enjoying a delightful local drinking establishment with a friend. The bar recommended their Mettbrötchen. So I asked what it was. The waitress said it was a local speciality, essentially a pork sandwich with spices, so I indulged. To my horror, she brought out what essentially was a completely raw, cold slab of pork in between some bread. It's apparently very common here to want a side of E. coli with your dinner, and I haven't had a solid poo in days. So yeah, the Germans are at it with odd sandwiches. So it seems like there's one without a top. It seems like there's this pork mess going on as well. I've forgotten what your question was.
I don't understand either. In terms of defining a sandwich, obviously it's anything between two closed bits of bread, and there needs to be substance to bite into, whether that be a bit of halloumi, maybe a bit of beef, or cheese. But it has to have a little bit of resistance as you go through it.
Got to have a bit
bread,
of bite.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. But
so it has to be a bit of bite that is not the bread.
Exactly.
What about ham?
Ham's fine.
Okay.
Ham's fine. You can eat even like a sandwich connoisseur would feel even the slight bit of resistance to make a sandwich.
Do you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to do a TV series with you where we travelled the world and tried different sandwiches.
That would be great.
That would work. Would it not work?
Of course it would work. It'd be a travel/food show where we just go, there's a sandwich, should we eat it? And then we talk about it.
But
this
specifically sandwiches.
We don't. I think we could do this, Jim, as a YouTube channel on its own. It's like Chicken Connoisseur, but
sandwiches.
With the Sandwich Men.
The Sandwich Men. Yeah.
Do you know where my love of sandwiches came from? Is watching my dad as a kid. You know, when your father is your hero, regardless of what happens. Your father is your hero when you're a kid until you get to an age where you realize he's fallible and you develop a different kind of relationship. But as a kid, whatever your father does, you'll defend and look up to and want to replicate. There wasn't a dinner time that went by without my dad on the side of his normal plate of food, his normal dinner, that he wouldn't have a slice of bread next to it, ready to make a sandwich out of his dinner.
Really?
Roast dinner, he'll have a roast dinner sandwich.
Oof.
Sausage and mash, he'll make a sausage and mash sandwich.
Without
foul.
Oh, what a shame.
Without foul.
You've lost me there.
Mate, look,
sausage and mash sandwich.
That's what I'm saying, Jimmy. It didn't matter to him. It didn't matter what was in it. It's just that it was his dinner and he had a slice of bread next to it. And whatever it was on that plate went into that and made a sandwich and he ate it and he was happy.
Do you know what would be good? Because obviously with the channel, maybe it's, I do want to go to like all these massive games. But like if we could do sandwiches and football series and travel the world, Flav, you fancy that?
Yeah, of course I fancy that. Shall I ring my dad up and see if he remembers the old sandwich stuff?
The thought of mash in a sandwich feels incredibly wrong to me.
I might have just thrown that in there. I'm just sort of making the point that regardless of what.
Ask him if he's ever had a mash sandwich.
That's a shame.
Yeah, busy man. Guess we'll never know.
We'll never know. Maybe next time.
And last bit, sandwich chat. It could be the end. You never know. But Luke, who's got his own business now, connects us. He's doing great things. Let's get that done. Let's I don't know. Trivago, would Trivago sponsor me and Flav going to football matches, eating sandwiches? Sandwich. Mike Lewis.
I've got a bit of an issue. Is that as a vegetarian, how many sandwiches am I going to be able to eat?
I mean, that makes it more inclusive, though. We might have to. You have 2 sandwiches. You go, I'll get the meat one.
It's sort of like
get the other
on the road with Smith, but just about sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the trip, McSlash says, but just sandwiches. Yeah. Oh, I think it'd be great. Right, last bit. Mike Lewis, overthinking food bit. A fair few years ago, me and some friends went out for a steak dinner. We ordered our steaks and the food arrived. I'd gone through the peas and the chips and I'd left the steak until last as it's the main event. The reason I'm here. The best bit. My friend looked at me in disgust and said, what if there's a fire and you've just filled up on peas? A lot changed for me on that day, including an increased awareness for fire hazards. And now I tend to mix up all things on the plate to make sure no man or food is left behind. Have you ever had a mid-meal emergency? I don't think I have.
I don't think I've had a mid-meal emergency, but as a kid, I'd hate sausages. And I've mastered... Yeah, I know, it's weird, isn't it? I just didn't like sausages. I just found them too dense and I just didn't enjoy eating them. I hated them. I was really fussy as a kid, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Anyway, I was the master of getting stuff off my plate and into my pocket, right? So that I could go upstairs and flush it down the toilet.
Sausage pocket.
The amount of sausage. Yeah, I had a sausage. The amount of sausages I smuggled off my plate. And bearing this in mind, we'd sit around the dinner to eat, right? We'd all sit around the dinner. And I'd look down, I'd look down at my plate as a 7-year-old. I'd go, can't eat 2 sausages. But my dad had this thing about finishing your food and not leaving until you finish your food, right? He had a thing about not wasting food, which is a good trait to instill in your child, I think. Right?
Can lead to obesity in later life.
Right.
I had that.
For me, in my instance, it didn't. But somehow so 7-year-olds, I'm looking down, I'm going, 2 sausages is a lot. I don't really want to eat 2 sausages. I'd much rather find a way of not eating this sausage, but I know I'm not going to be able to leave this table until I've eaten both sausages. So I developed a role of looking at my dad, gauging how long he would be focusing on his food and when he might look up at me, right? And over years, it's like football. When you see the tide changing, it was the same with my dad eating. I knew when he was going to look up, and I knew when he was concentrating. Great eye time would have been when he was about to make a sandwich, because he'd be concentrating on building that sandwich. And at that point, I'd roll it. I'd roll the sausage off the side of the plate. Now we had these plates that curved up at the sides, which would give me a good sort of barrier to hide the sausage. Then I would roll with my fingers off the table onto my lap, and then from that point it was a simple process of putting it in my pocket and then going, I need a wee. Up I would go, plop the sausage in the toilet and flush it, and I'd never have to eat it. And I'd have to force it.
Wow. Did you ever get up and you went, is that a sausage in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? And you were just, no,
my dad. Would my dad say that? No, that didn't happen.
I'm saying the weird shit, am I? I'm saying the weird shit.
You're the weirdo.
What's the most about the sausages you ever got in your pocket?
I don't think I ever did more than one.
Right.
I might have done 2 a couple of times. Yeah. I don't think I ever got caught once. Brilliant.
That's class. I mean, things you got away with from your parents back in the day, that is a good one. I used to do that with sugar and tea. I'd put like 5 sugars in a tea.
Sorry, I just got a delivery. 2 seconds.
You try. In these moments, I think about what Jordan Peterson said when he talks about dialogue. 2 people talking, and so you have that mix of both people having a conversation, and through that, there's an alchemy. And then I think it'd be great to have dialogue when it's my turn to say something, But yeah, I've just stuck doing monologues because when I sort of go, oh, maybe we could. Oh, I've got something to offer. He often walks off, or opens a package, or makes himself a coffee, and I try and keep a chin up and
delivery. I was just waiting. I thought it'd be a nice time because I'd ordered.
Oh, great! Yeah,
I customized a pair of Nike trainers and they were delivered by DPD.
Mm.
I think he just turned up and then just drove off.
What is he? He's put the trainers down there, is he?
No, he's not there. Otherwise, I would have shown you.
Well, that was worth it. Good.
Sorry about that.
Right. World Cup Sweepstake. Become a sluggy. Get involved. It'll be good fun. We'll be able to talk about it, react to it, the different points and stuff. We've got a smart man on the case. So get involved. $4 for the month because the podcast may not be on the channel. But we'll be back next week, so you've still got time. But you probably haven't got time after that, so just do it now. All right? Link is in the description for that, as is description to Manscaped if you feel like getting someone a stocking filler. Any more, Flav?
No, just thanks for watching once again. Keep watching. Enjoy the end of the Premier League, isn't it, for a while, which is everyone's looking forward to. So enjoy the start of the World Cup, and it's come to a point where, regardless of what's happening, it should never have been there, but it is there. So you can't do anything but watch it and enjoy it as much as you can now.
The last thing with the World Cup Sweepstake is once you become a patron, again, you've got to put your team name in the pinned comment. Don't forget to do that. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Speak soon. Lots of love.
Take care.
Goodbye.